Hi guys, it's just Charlie here from Sterling Power, here to introduce the BBR, which is the remote control for the new range of buck boost battery-to-battery chargers, and to go through the functions of it essentially. So this remote control here comes with a little big pigtail Ethernet style RJ connector, which just plugs into the remote control port you see on the bottom of the battery-to-battery charger. It's currently got some cellophane over the top of that, which can be peeled off, which explains the little bubbles. But besides that, yeah, it's just a simple case to plug it in here. Now, the remote will come with 3 meters of extension cable. So if you wish to extend up to 3 meters away, plus the length of that pigtail, to put it somewhere more convenient. And we have it set so when the battery-to-battery charger is charging, the screen stays on, just as it is now, showing 14.2 volts, which is the output voltage. Of course, if that changes, this will change too. Likewise with the current, it's simply the current coming out of this down this output connector here. So it tells you the output voltage, the output current, what state of charge the DC to DC charger is in. At the moment it's in bulk, which is the first stage of the battery charging cycle. And LED 1 means the battery charging profile that the unit's been set to, which is the default setting. So if it was lithium, it would say lithium. If it was AGM, it would say AGM 1 or 2, it's lithium 1 or 2, etc. So that's what the main display shows. Now, the primary reason for getting a remote control may well be to view the output voltage and the output currents, or it could be to take advantage of the functions that the remote control gives. Now, if we enter the functions, I'll just briefly go through them. So if you hold the menu button down for about 4 seconds, so 3, 4, and then let go. Here you enter the menu and you just toggle up and down the menu with the up and down arrows. But let's start at the top. So battery type, if you just press enter now, you can toggle through the battery type. So AGM 1, lithium iron phosphate, lead 2, AGM 2, lithium 2. And then user 1 and user 2 are the custom profiles, which I'll go into in towards the end of the video. So let's just put it back in LED 1. So LED 1, select, and then scroll down to the next function option. So EQ mode just means equalization or desulfation. If you want the charger to go through a desulfation cycle, you need to be in one of the LED settings first before you can toggle this on and off. So if you can't find EQ mode, it's because you're in AGM or lithium. So put it in LED mode first before entering EQ mode. Now, ignition off on, if you've fed an ignition signal to this connector here, the second one in along the row, the unit will be set to ignition mode on all the time. And here, if you want to set it back to non-ignition mode, you have to do it via the remote control, or you can do a factory reset on the unit. So there's just 2 ways of getting the unit out of ignition only mode, and that's one of the ways. Backlight all the time. So if you don't want the backlight to be on all the time while the unit's on, simply change it. So you can either have 10 seconds, 20 seconds, all the way up to 250 seconds, which basically means that if you press a button on the remote control, the backlight stays on for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, or 250 seconds, and then it turns off. Or you can have it on all the time, which is what the default option is. Now, the current limit setting is the setting that I think most people will want the unit for, the remote for. So the default setting is of course 100%, which means 100% of the performance of the unit is what the default setting of both the battery-to-battery charger and the remote is set to. Now, you've got two options here. You can either reduce it to 85% or you can reduce it to 65%. So if I set it to 65% and go save and exit, that 111 amps, the unit will turn off in about 2 or 3 seconds, and it will boot up again at around about 70 odd amps. So let's just see. So it's turned off, and I'm just going to let the unit fire up again. Should turn back on in a second. There we go. So it's turned on, and it's turned on at 76 amps there. So it's approximate. And then you've got that 85%, which is somewhere in between. So that's a nice feature if, let's say it's a sunny day and you just want the solar to charge your leisure battery, you don't want to consume fuel. There's other benefits of reducing the current as well. Let's say your alternator in future you're going to up the size of your alternator, where you might want to reduce the performance of the battery to battery charger before you get a bigger alternator, or your cables might not be thick enough to handle the current. Your battery that you're charging up, you might not want to put that amount of current in yet until you get a larger battery bank. There's lots of little reasons why you might want to reduce the current. So yeah, it gives you the option to do that. Now, user-defined settings 1 and 2, which is towards the end here of the functions, is simple, and it's a simple case of setting your own charge profile. So if we go into user setting 1, go enter. Here you can set the absorption, so that's the first voltage to set. So you've got 14.0 is the lowest voltage you can set the absorption to, or you can go all the way up to, I think it's 15.5. Yeah, so 15.5. So if you want to set it to, let's say, 14.6, press enter, and then the next option is to set float. So let's say you want that at 13.5. Set that to 13.5, and then the last one is absorption time length. So default seems to be 3 hours. You can go all the way up to, I think it's 6, yeah, 6, and then you can go all the way down to half an hour. So let's call it 1 hour, press enter, and then scroll through. Here, right, in order for it to set the user, you need to go back to battery type, and then toggle through here to go to user 1. So go to user 1 and press enter, and then scroll down to save and exit. So if you want to ever make changes to the B2B, you need to actually go to save and exit before you leave the menu settings. Otherwise it won't save the settings that you've just made. So it's just rebooted back up again. Now, to tell from just looking at the unit that we're in a custom profile, these two LEDs light up, and on here we'll say user defined 1. So user 1 means it's the one that you've defined. Now, a nice little feature as well is that's now pegged to 76 amps, because obviously I've set it to 65% current limit. If I was to either break or lose this charger, the remote control, so I've now removed the remote control, and the battery to battery charger is still 74%, 74 amps or so. If I do a factory reset here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So about 17 seconds, let go, when all the 3 lights flash, and that should restart the current limit to 100% again. So that's a good, if you lose the remote control, or it breaks, or I don't know, you no longer want to use it, you know, something gets damaged on it, or and it inhibits the product, just do a factory reset, and now you're back up to 110 amps or so. So that's just a good kind of get out of jail card, really. All right, thank you very much.